Well, good afternoon and welcome back to another missionary time with Mr. Brad and Miss Norma. And as we've been starting out, we talk about some of the missionaries that Hagerman Baptist Church has supported. And we talked about somebody that was in Brazil, Jim Leonard. We've talked about a man.
Julie.
And Julie. I'm sorry, that's right, Jim and Julie Leonard in Brazil. And we also talked about Jim Sloan and his wife Joyce. And they're not at any one place. Jim likes to travel around to visit with deaf people and tell them about Jesus. And I've got a little bit different situation for you today. We have a missionary by the name of George Hatfield. Now, George's picture is kind of small there.
And Dottie.
And his wife's name is Dottie. And what exotic country do you think that George and Dottie Hatfield are in?
The Congo.
They probably talk to people from the Congo.
Thailand.
They very well could speak to people from Thailand as well. What else?
China.
Probably people from China, that's right. So where do you suppose they could be and meet all those different people?
I don't know.
The most exotic location that you can think of in Iowa, the right smack dab middle of the state, Ames, Iowa, at the Iowa State University. That's where they're missionaries.
How can you be a missionary at Iowa State University?
Well, you think about people who are missionaries and they go from someplace to someplace else. Well, George and Dottie went to Iowa State University because guess what? At Iowa State University, they teach them how to be engineers. They teach them how to do better farming. They teach them how to be teachers. There's all kinds of things that Iowa State University does. And people come
not
from...
sports.
Well, not sports, not so much. Yeah, not this year anyway. But,
Sorry.
not anybody.
Sorry, ISU fans.
They come from all over the world, and they come to Iowa State University. And so George and Dottie have Bible studies, and they have church services, and they visit with different people. They're called international students. And as those people come and hear about Jesus, then they're able to go, and when they go back to their country, whatever it is, what you said before, China or Thailand or Germany or wherever else, if they've become Christians when they were here in the United States, then they go back and they tell their families and their friends in the countries they came from about what Jesus has done for them. So that's kind of a different way to look at missionaries, but that's what George and Dottie do, and it's a good ministry.
So they don't leave Iowa?
Not generally. Their work, their main mission is right here in Iowa, in Ames at Iowa State University.
But they're still spreading the gospel around the world.
They're telling everybody about Jesus, and they're going to more places. I don't know if they tell any more people, but they definitely are able to influence more places because of the variety of people that come from China and Thailand and Germany and all other places. So.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So if you think of it, and if you're remember to pray for our missionaries. It's George and Dottie Hatfield, and they're in Ames, Iowa. So it's kind of nice for them if they're able to stay here in the country, but they're still able to reach out to lots of different people in lots of different places and tell them about different things that Jesus has done for them. So remember to pray for George and Dottie Hatfield. So I'm guessing that we've got some more story to tell about today.
Oh, we do.
You didn't even mention India. You suppose there's some people from India at Iowa State University?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay, so maybe there's some people there that have heard the gospel and will take it back to India.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so.
So are you ready for the picture?
I'm ready for the picture.
Okay.
If you remember where we left Ringu off, he wasn't feeling real well at all. In fact, he was lying on his bed. And when he woke up in the morning, he felt awful. His foot was looking terrible. His leg had swollen up, and the infection was starting to go up his leg. And if you remember, that night, they didn't soak his foot at all in the water with the medicine that Grub Sahib had left because, well, they thought maybe the evil spirits.
Those evil spirits again.
Might not be happy with him, so they thought, let's just wait.
Hey, can I ask you something?
Yes.
Were there really evil spirits?
In the water?
Yeah.
No.
So what they were believing wasn't really true at all?
No.
Were there evil spirits in the woods?
No. It's all just superstition and false beliefs, tricks of Satan to get them to not listen to or believe in the one true God. But that is not Satan. The one true God is God the Father. And so he was feeling miserable, and so his mom comes to check on him, and he says, I don't feel good at all. I feel miserable. Oh, and she's checking on him, and she's like, oh, he says, what if I feel so bad that I die? She's, shh, you can't say that, because what if the evil spirits hear you? Shh. Oh, can you imagine living like that no matter what you say, you're afraid that the evil spirits are going to hear you and make it happen or make it worse? No matter, you're always in fear. There's nothing happy. There's no joy. There's no peace in your life. You're always afraid of everything. And his fear. Well, then his dad came up, and he looked at what was going on, and he looked at his mom, and he said, go get the water and the medicine. Let's soak his foot. Well, Ringu was happy about that, but he was so sick he kind of really didn't care. He was just like, whatever, make it better. If this will make it better, I'm okay about that. So they did that. So they went, they got the fire, they put some water, boiled the water, brought it over. They poured that packet of medicine that Grub Sahib had left. Made sure, and with hot boiling water, you've got to make sure that it cools off enough, because you never want to put a foot, a hand, or anything in the water that's too hot, because you don't want to burn yourself. So they tested it first to make sure. They didn't want to burn his foot. And when it was the right temperature, and they had him put his foot in so that he could soak it, they put it in, and just that hot water.
But that felt better.
Oh, it's like, oh, this feels so much better. So they soaked it that morning. Then he rested and he slept. And then that evening, they soaked it again. And then put more medicine in. And by that evening, he's like, oh. He lifted his foot up and he's like, wow, this is really feeling better. He got up and he tested it. He stood up on it. It's like, oh, this isn't feeling, I'm not picking it up and cringing on it. I think this medicine, it might be working. And he says, his dad came up and he says, Ringu, how are you feeling? He says, oh, I think the water and the medicine from Grub Sahib, it's helping. He says, good, because my two helpers who guard the crops at night to keep away the hyenas and the jackals.
What's a hyena?
Oh, they're animals. And they want to eat all the crops up.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't know a hyena ate the crops, but okay.
Well, I didn't either. I learned something new.
But they're going to scare the hyenas away, huh?
Yeah, well, he and Batu had to do that.
Okay.
They had to stay awake all night and do that. They make noises and loud sounds. And said they're going to be gone for 2 days. The helpers were going to be gone. So Ringu and Batu were going to be gone. Had to do this for 2 nights. They had to stay awake 2 nights. So he needed to do that. So you guys must go and watch. So when it was time for the helpers to leave, Ringu was feeling really well, and he was able to walk without any problem at all. And it's like, yes, I could do this. And he thought, you know what? Grub Sahib's God is very powerful. He was able to make me get better, and he was able to do all of this with only powder and water. That's it. Huh. And he goes, Batu, he said, I'm going to school with you today. And then tonight I'll help you, and we'll guard the crops. And you know what? I'm going to take that paper with me, because I want to know what it has to say, because I'm sure that this tells us about that God that Grub Sahib is talking about. And I want to be able to learn how to read today at school so that I can read this paper. And maybe today at school I'm going to learn how to read so I can read this paper. Batu looked at Ringu and said, do you really think that you should take that paper to school?
Why not?
Oh, we're going to find out. So,
Ready to turn?
yeah. Well, their schoolhouse looks a little different than the schoolhouse that you might go to. Right now, you're not going to any school. And some of you don't go to a school, you might be homeschooled. But this schoolhouse, they didn't have any desks or a table or anything. When they came in, they sat on a dirt floor. That was it.
Ooh, wow.
And there was one very small chalkboard at the front of the room. And they each had, they called them slates. Looked like little mini chalkboards. And today we might refer to them as like a little whiteboard. And they could use those to write on. So, and when the teacher entered the room, they all had to stand up right away and say, "Good morning, teacher." "Yes, teacher." And they were not allowed to talk unless the teacher talked to them. And in fact, if they did something wrong, bam! The teacher would come along and whack them along the side of the head.
You keep your wax over there, okay?
Yeah.
Ooh.
It was not a very happy place, but it was the only way they learned to go to school. And you want to know the other thing? Only boys were allowed to go to school. No girls could go to school. So girls weren't allowed to learn how to read, how to count. Girls had to stay home. To me, that doesn't seem very fair. Of course, I'm a girl. So, and I had girls. So I don't like that idea at all. And you know what? God wants all people to learn how to read. So I don't think
How else would you learn to read his word? That's right.
Yeah. So that doesn't seem like something that God would want either.
No, it's true.
So they go into the school, they sit down, and then right away, Ringu feels up at his turban. Okay, yeah, it's still there. That piece of paper's still there. Okay, today's the day. I'm going to learn how to read. I'm going to go home and I'm going to read the paper. He was so excited.
I'd be pretty excited.
Have you ever been so excited to learn something? Learn how to read and then been excited to learn to read the Bible? This is how excited we should be. So he gets there and the teacher gets up and on that chalkboard at the front, he starts writing 1, 2,
Oh, no.
3, 4,
We're not going to learn to read today?
5.
Ugh.
And then he wanted them to say it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in Hindi. And that's what they had to do. That's what they're doing. And then he wanted them to write it.
Now, you said in Hindi. What was Hindi? Tell us again what Hindi is. What's
Hindi is the language that they spoke.
Oh, okay.
Over there, like we speak English, they spoke Hindi.
Okay.
Have you ever been so sad and disappointed about something? That's how Batu felt. Not Batu, Ringu. All right, I'm glad somebody's here to keep me straight on my story. Well, but Ringu, okay, I'm going to learn. And he started writing it. Oh, at first his numbers didn't look like teachers, but with practice, they were looking just like teachers. And he was like, oh, this is good. My numbers are looking just like teachers. Oh, yay, I'm doing well. I'm doing good. Yay, yay. All of a sudden, teacher's walking up and down the rows. And then teacher stops besides Ringu. And teacher says, "What's this?" And Ringu does this because he's expecting to go boom. And teacher reaches in and grabs out the paper from his turban.
Oh, no.
He didn't hide his paper well enough in his turban. Oh no, oh no, what's going to happen? So he just thinking, He looks up and he sees teacher slip it into his coat pocket, and he thinks, how can I get the paper back? I've got to have that paper. I've got to figure out what the paper says. I've got to learn how to read. I got to know what the paper... Oh, boy.
Maybe the teacher will tell him. I think the teacher maybe will tell him.
Oh, I'm sure the teacher's going to tell him.
Okay.
So he forces his fingers to go back to writing, and then he looks up and he sees teacher take the paper out. And starts to get mad and he's reading it, and then he crumples that paper up and throws it into the corner. Ringu, come here now. Yes, teacher. And he puts his slate down and he walks up to teacher. He says, that is about the Christian's God. Don't you ever take a piece of paper like that again. And then, do you know what he did?
Did he smack him?
And then told him to go sit back down.
I don't think I want to go to school with Ringu.
No, that's not a good place to learn.
I don't think so.
No, it doesn't make learning fun.
No.
Well, then, right away,
Turn.
let's see what the next picture is. Oh, we missed a picture. So this is when he came by and he took the paper out of his turban, and then this is after he's mad at him. And then so right away, what they do when they have to say, oh, okay, I promise I won't, is they cross their arms in front and they grab their earlobes. And it's like, oh, I promise I won't take a piece of paper like that. I won't.
That's making a promise?
That's making a promise. You grab your earlobes and you cross your arms in front. I won't do that. He says, I will never take that paper again. But you know what he was really doing? He was lying to his teacher, because in his heart he's like, oh, I need to know what that paper said, and I really want to know what it says, so I have to get that paper back. So even though he was promising to his teacher, he was really lying because he wanted to get that paper back. And what did we talk about before? Things
Stealing.
like stealing, that's a sin.
Uh-huh.
Lying is a sin. It's the same thing. The sin's a sin. So, said after school, finally made it through the day. Like, oh, good, I'm done. And Batu said, okay, come on, Ringu, let's go. We gotta get going. Says, I'm gonna help you in the field tonight. Batu was so excited because he's younger. We gotta go home. Come on. It's like, all right, I'm coming. Remember, I've got to walk a little slower. Didn't really have to, but he just wanted everybody to leave the school, the teacher to leave, Batu to go, so he could
go back and get his paper?
Yes. And he goes, you just go ahead. So everybody was leaving, and he's just going slow, walking slow, looking around. Everybody's walking away, left, and then he goes back into the school. He bends down. Ringu, what are you doing? What? Batu had snuck back with him, and he didn't even know it.
I thought it was the teacher.
Yeah, I know. Scared him. He's like, don't touch that paper, Ringu. That's evil. You shouldn't be touching it. Don't take it. Just throw it away. Leave it there. And he said, no, I've got to. I've got to have it. I don't care what the teacher says. I've got to have it. I want to find out more about that God. And he says, I like to think that I want to find out about him because Grub Sahib says that that's a true God and that he loves me. And that I don't like thinking about the evil spirits. He goes, they're always making me afraid. And I want to learn how to read, and I want to know what this paper says. But, Ringu, if you don't worship the evil spirits, they're going to eat you. And they may even hurt me too. Throw that paper away and just forget about it. I'm going to keep this paper. I'm going to do that. And you know what? The evil spirits haven't eaten Sahib. They haven't eaten Pandu.
The music box.
Box. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Someday I'm going to learn more about God. So come on, let's just go. So he put it in his turban and then they left.
Did he put it in a little better this time? So
yeah, he did. He hit it better.
Nobody could see it.
It says, and as they started walking away, oh, there was some music in the air. And they stopped. They said, Batu, do you hear that? Look, it's Pandu. Oh, and it's Grub Sahib. And they started running. You know, he was faking before that his foot. So he could walk. So, well, now all of a sudden he could run. And he started running. And he thought, oh, what? They're right there. So he started running toward him. And he thought, what in the world is going on? Well, there was Grub Sahib setting up this white thing out in the middle of in their clearing. And he's pulling it up and tying it. I thought, I don't know what that is, but that music is so wonderful. It just makes me feel so good and happy. And he just listened to that music, and it was starting to get dark. And it was getting dark, then all of a sudden, pictures showed up on the screen. Oh, you can't show that, because if you want to see what pictures showed up on the screen, you have to turn in next week, okay?
Boy. Why do you always do that? I'd like to see what's going to go. I can't look ahead even though. Okay.
Nope.
All right. I won't cheat. I promise. But I'm kind of interested to see what's going to be on those pictures. I'm kind of interested to know what's going to happen there. So I guess we'll have to come back and do that again next week. So join us again next week, and we'll hear more about Ringu and his brother Patu is the Batu. I'm sorry, Ringu and Batu, and see what happens. And
Pandu plays the music.
Okay, I'll try to remember all these people. But thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again next week.